All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, when I first saw this video on social media, I actually thought it was a joke. I really did. I thought it was a joke. And then I saw the link and I was like, okay, is this a parody? And then a lot of people out there, they were saying, oh, this is white Democrats coming up with ways to target black people. And then I saw a tweet from this sister who said, no, I am the one who was behind this actual video. The videos of 7 Georgia strippers. They released an important message about getting out the vote. Watch.
Get your booty to the pole, 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 yeah.
Did we get your attention? Good.
So, you're really not gonna vote?
You know it's more than just the president on the ballot, right? Check it.
A district attorney decides who to prosecute,
Including whether or not to go after dirty cops.
Do you know who elects the DA? We do.
But you don't want to vote.
can't make it rain if you locked up on some bullshit.
Want trades and coding taught in our schools? Then vote for the school boards that will prepare us for the job market.
Want to end cash bail?
Well, then vote for the sheriffs and county officials that feel the same way you do.
But you talking about, oh, they gonna pick who they gonna pick, shawty.
Ferguson just elected their first black mayor.
You know how that happened?
It's clear black lives don't matter to some of our current elected officials.
If they matter to you,
Then don't let other people decide who's gonna run your community.
get your booty to the poll.
Get your booty to the poll.
Get your booty to the poll.
Get your vote, yeah, vote, stretch.
For information on how and where to vote, as well as resources to find out who's running where you live, go to getyourbootytothepoll.com.
Get your booty to the poll, get your booty to the poll, get your booty to the poll, get your booty.
Now, folks, Get Your Booty to the Poll is a project started by 2 Atlanta-based filmmakers, Paul Fox and Angela Gomes. They organized a GoFundMe in July called Angela and Paul Want Black People to Vote. They promised to those who donated to use the money to shoot and distribute a public service announcement featuring dancers from some of Atlanta's finest gentlemen clubs. And again, so I was online, I was seeing folks who were critical of it, and then I saw a tweet from Angela Gomes and realized she followed me on Twitter. She joins us right now. Angela, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So folks have been saying this is shameful, it is despicable, how dare you, this is degrading to black people to put out a PSA featuring strippers. Your response?
Black Lives Matter, that means all Black Lives Matter. So the respectability, it's not only respectable lives matter. To me, all Black Lives matter. And, like, I don't know, Atlanta has a culture that there's a lot of different parts of our culture. There's people that are into the whole black nerd thing. There's people that like the cigar bars. There's people that go to church Wednesdays and Sundays. And there's people that go to the strip clubs. And Atlanta is famous for Coca-Cola and strip clubs. So I wanted to do something that was absolutely undeniably Atlanta. That would get people's attention. And, you know, you said you thought it was a parody at first. In a way, it kind of is, because if I had wrote a song called Get Your Booty to the POLE and had the same graphics and just not talked about the presidential election, I don't think anybody would have blinked an eye.
And on that particular note, I was looking at some of the other responses, and initially a lot of folks were saying that, oh, white Democrats came up with this in order to reach black people, and that you took offense to that.
Well, I understand there is a lot of pandering from both sides, so I understand where that idea may have come from. What bothered me is that after I corrected somebody who has a large following, whose name I won't repeat, when I corrected them, they doubled down and said that both me and Paul were white Democrats and that we were back. This is all unsubstantiated stuff, because this is literally an idea that came out of my head, and Paul and I decided to work together to make it happen. And it was, you know, we started a GoFundMe because in the beginning, people who couldn't, so many people wanted to help. They're like, well, can I at least donate money? So we started a GoFundMe to donate money, to get donations, and fortunately made enough to pay for the whole spot. So originally, Paul and I were going to just pay for it ourselves.
Again, I've seen women, I've seen even some men say, black people, this degrades African Americans. Yet I've seen others who say, wait a minute, we act as if strippers don't also have a vote as well, and why can't they do an ad? Have you been surprised by the reaction from African Americans to this ad?
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be for everybody. This ad was never intended to get all black people to vote or all black men to vote, because not all black men like strip clubs or strippers or think that it's okay. There's a whole, separate conversation we could have about respectability politics, I'm sure. But this ad was for the people in Atlanta that I know like strip clubs. I am just Angela. Me and Paul were just Angela and Paul, two friends who decided to do something together. And it was not any kind of backing. We didn't have sponsors. We didn't have a big budget or any budget. We just had our credit cards, everything. Paul and I charged everything. And so it's not like there was this big, I don't have this budget to push a message that I could get out to get to everybody. So I had to be as specific as possible. And I had to do something I knew it had to be shareable. It had to be informative. It had to be something people would want to share. And it had to be quintessentially, unapologetically ATL. That's what I wanted. And I think that's what I got. And I'm very proud of it.
Avis Jones DeWeaver, I saw you and Jason Johnson going back and forth on this. That's actually one of the places where I first saw it. You did not mince words or your thoughts about this ad.
Yeah. I was, here's the thing. I obviously, I understand the argument around respectability politics, understand the argument about Atlanta culture. What we were going back and forth was the fact that, thinking broader than ATL, I personally cannot imagine an ad like that with women who weren't Black. And I think there is a certain way in which Black women are depicted in this culture, in a more broadly speaking, that other women are not subjected to. There is a level in which we have become numb to seeing Black women's body and Googling Black women's bodies. And I can't imagine a commercial like that with all white women, for example. And as a Black woman who navigates the world as a Black woman, there are implications of that on Black women who don't choose to strip. Now, if you choose to strip, that is your right. I'm not castigating you. You're grown. You can do whatever you want to do. But I think it is not honest if we were to argue that this is something that all women would have the same sort of experience. We just would not see this. I don't see us seeing something like this in this culture in a way that would objectify other women to the same degree that we continuously see Black women objectified, not just with this, but across hip hop, across many other areas of American culture. We seem to be so familiar with exposing Black women's bodies. I do appreciate the fact that at least this has a good message. You're trying to get women to vote and men to vote, and not just exposing Black women's bodies to line other people's pockets, which is usually what it's done for. But that was my challenge with it. I just felt like I could not imagine this type of thing being exposed to the world with other women.
Angela?
I just couldn't see it.
I totally see her point of view. GoDaddy used to do ads that had sexy women, and people had a problem with that. I understand the problem with the objectification of women, which is why for my spot, I didn't do like a bunch of naked dancers or half naked dancers and voiceover. I gave them a voice. For me personally, I believe sex work is work. And if you want to be an exotic dancer, then that's a job, and that's using your body the same as if you're a construction worker or a coal miner. And it's about people getting over the fact that they consider that something that's disrespectful in the first place. We have been, as people, as Black people, as all people, have been shaking their butts since before Jesus Christ. So that's something that people do. People dance. And to somehow say that certain kinds of dance are acceptable and respectable and certain kinds of dances aren't, to me, I personally see it as part of the Atlanta culture. To pretend like it doesn't exist would be lying about my culture.
Rena Shaw, the point that Angela made about sex workers, I've seen a number of folks who are on OnlyFans.com clap back at folks who say, how dare you criticize folks there. It's actual. It's a job. You also see elected officials who are also putting protections in place for sex workers. And so, is this take into account what Avis had to say? Your thoughts again about how we as a broader society perceive this type of PSA compared to other PSAs done by entertainers or people who are in other professions. Your thoughts?
Well, look, I completely understand the intention behind it. And I'm all about having a little fun. It feels like a really dark time in politics. And I've been working in politics for a long time. And as a conservative, a lifelong one where, look, I mean, I wore certain things when I was growing up and I was sent right back upstairs. But I was also in the mindset when I got to college that this is my body, I can do what I want with it. And my independently formed thoughts about all of it were really independent of my folks at that point. And I just said, I do not believe that using my body for sex work is work. And that's just where I differ on this entire thing. So I really hear Avis when she says that Black women's bodies being objectified the way they are. It's like we as a society, I being a brown woman, not a Black woman, am on the one hand, surprised, mortified to see the backside of a Black woman just so plainly exposed in a thong. Whereas I know we wouldn't see a white woman's backside like that or an Asian woman. It's just not typical. And I feel that there's an element that in seeing these visuals, it sets other Black women who choose not to do this as work. It sets them behind professionally because that trickles into how Black women are also talked about. They're talked about like these sassy beings. Oh, you're sassy because you put your body out there. You put your voice out there. And I feel like that's really difficult. So I get it. This was good fun. The message is positive. Everybody should vote. If it changes some hearts and minds about voting, look, I'm all for it. I just worry about this for younger women thinking it's okay to use our bodies to send messages like this when there are other ways we can do it. We can use our hands, we can write, we can talk, we can use a lot of different things. But I'm all mixed up about it, Roland.
And I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, but to me, like if that's what they choose to do, then that's what they choose to do. It's work. And I understand, like, from you, you're seeing it as a shameful thing. So we're losing the message. The message is politicians are not paying attention to the needs of Black people and specifically Black men. And if we can get more of our voting power to say, look, you have to pay attention, politicians will be afraid for their jobs and they'll have to pay attention. Because Black lives matter, not just Black respectable lives. Black lives matter. And when you start parsing it out, going, oh, we don't want to see this part of who we are, when Magic City is like, that's people think Coca-Cola and Magic City when they think about Atlanta. So for me to pretend that doesn't exist is a lie. And it's not saying if it's good or bad or otherwise. If you don't like it, then fine. The ad's not for you. Then don't watch it. The ad wasn't for you. The ad was for the brothers that like going to the club, that like to listen. Well, here's the thing. In my wildest dreams, I never thought this was going to leave it. I thought this was going to be something people passed around. I'm in my 40s. I'm not about viral videos. On my personal Instagram, it's not even on my personal Instagram because I couldn't figure out how to repost the video. I am not a social media person. So, I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. I thought this was going to be something that was going to be big in Atlanta because we have, ATL, we have a bunch of little inside jokes that might get out to some other cities with, some chocolate populations. And that was it. I never in a million years thought I was going to be this big. But I'll be honest. If I knew that in the beginning, I would probably.
You broke up there. You said, if I knew this in the beginning. No, hold on one second. Your video broke up. You said, if I knew this in the beginning.
Oh, I would still do it because people are talking about cash bail. People are talking about the respectability politics, which is a whole nother conversation. But people are talking about cash bail and talking about, criminal justice reform and talking about trades in schools. These are things people are talking about because our spot brought it up. What other national voter, any kind of elected official is talking about those things in their ads? They're not. And these are issues that plague that can help Black people, that can help our communities.
Angela,
so if I got your attention.
All right. Angela Gomes, we certainly appreciate you joining us on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, folks. Back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.